So you want to know what never to say to your boss or frankly in the workplace at all. Today we're going to talk about that. Today we're going to talk about 7 things you should never say in the workplace to your boss or frankly to other coworkers. And I'm going to give you alternatives as to if you do want to say these things, what are some alternative ways that you can say to get your meaning across that won't be harmful and won't hurt your professional career. My name is Kelly. I was a nurse to CEO, and my mission is to help you get the life and career of your dreams. So number one, the number one thing you do not want to say, you should never say is, that's not my job. That's not my job. Why is that something you never want to say? Because frankly, it makes you come across as uncooperative. It makes you come across as not being a team player. It makes you come across as not willing to maybe work with the group on what needs to be done during that day. But what if it really isn't your job and you really feel like you need to communicate that? One way that you can communicate that in a different way is, that's not a job that I'm familiar with. Is there a way that you can help me work through what are the requirements, what would be in that job description to make sure that I understand clearly what you're asking me to do? Do you see how you're actually talking about it's not in your job description, but you really maybe need to understand better what those requirements are, and you come across as willing to at least listen to what that is. And you might surprise yourself. You might be interested in what that job is. So that's one way to handle not my job. Number 2, I'm going to quit if XYZ happens. I'm going to quit if you do this to me. Any kind of variation of that you never want to say in the workplace or to your boss. Number 1, are you really going to quit if that happens? Because if you make that statement, it's possible your boss may say, okay, I accept your resignation. You're then putting the decision somewhat into someone else's hand, potentially. Now, maybe you don't really mean that. Maybe you're just really frustrated with whatever change is going to happen. And we do have a video that talks about resistance to change, if you'd like to take a look at that. But, maybe if you're not really meaning that you will quit if XYZ happens, then don't say that. And even arguably, if you do mean it, maybe internally you're like, you know what, I just can't do that if this happens. You don't say those words until you're ready. Again, this is about your personal brand too. This is about how you're coming across. So if you want more information on emotional intelligence, we have a video on that, but do not make those statements in a state of emotion. One way you can say is, and look like a professional way is, hey, help me understand this change that's occurring. I'm really maybe concerned about what could happen when this happens, and I'd like to understand more. First of all, what that does is it buys you time. It also helps you understand what is the change and maybe what isn't to help you better clarify what you need to do in the future. Number 3, I can't stand working with Susie Q. I can't stand working for Joe Smith. I can't stand when so-and-so is helping me on a project. You never want to say you can't stand working with someone, because that, again, reflects more on you than it does on the person you're saying you don't want to work with. It makes you come across, again, as not a team player, as maybe a toxic work environment, as maybe someone who isn't willing to work with the players on the team. Instead, if you are having challenges working with someone, one thing you can say is, we need to really work on and have this conversation with the person that you want to talk to. We need to really work on our communication together. Perhaps we can collaborate better and really work through what challenges have we had. Or if you really have had concerns with the person in the past and maybe some discussions that didn't go the way you'd like, you can sit down and say, hey, I really feel like we've had some challenges in our past. Let's put this aside to work on this next project. Now, if you really are experiencing something that would fall into harassment or different things, that's a completely different discussion and needs to be handled in your corporation's policies. That is not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about just maybe that sometimes people just kind of rub each other wrong, right? And it's going to be incumbent on you to say, let's talk about this and kind of work through our collaboration so we can work better together. And I guarantee you, you will grow in that scenario. You will do better in that scenario, and you'll be able to handle it so much better the next time as well. If you're finding this helpful, please give me a like and subscribe. It really helps move my channel forward. Number 4, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for whatever you're giving me. The reason you don't really want to say that either is, again, it comes across as maybe you're not prepared, or it could come across as you're just not ready for any kind of new project that's coming your way. Or maybe it comes across as you don't have good time management. Now, we all know there are times where you're not going to have time for something, right? So one way you can phrase that is, hey, I'm happy to listen about this project. Can you and I sit down and talk about what are the priority projects right now? This is what I have going on my plate, XYZ. Can we talk about how do we prioritize so I can do what's best for the company? And do you see, by saying it in a different way, you're willing to take on whatever it is the company needs you to do, but you're asking for a reprioritization, perhaps on projects that you already received. And so this helps you come across as professional, willing, and ready to go. You never want to say, number 5, you never want to say, I don't know. I don't know. Now, saying I don't know is okay because you're not going to know everything, right? But saying I don't know, but hey, let me look into that and let me help find an answer to your question. Or hey, I don't know the answer to that, but let me go check and research and get back with you, shows that you don't know, but you are willing to come up with a solution to find the answer, because it kind of goes back to, you want to be that go-to person. You want to be seen as that leader. So saying I don't know, but I'll get back to you changes the whole perception of what you're portraying to others. Number 6, that's impossible, or we've done that before, it didn't work. That really comes across as a defeatist attitude. It really can come across as you're not willing to work through perhaps a different avenue that the company wants to go or the person wants you to go. It really kind of comes across, frankly, as a negative attitude. And maybe you're right. Maybe they have tried it before, or maybe it is impossible. But here's the thing, is you don't really know that until you've worked through things. So one way that you can come across as, hey, let's look at this, that sounds familiar. Maybe we should pull up that project or those notes that we've done in the past and see what can we learn from those mistakes. So if we're going to try this, we don't make those mistakes again. Just saying it in a different way, first of all, alerts the person that, yep, we've tried this before. And B, but it looks at, hey, maybe we just need to learn from that mistake before and maybe it'll work again. Or what it also can do, if you feel like it's impossible, is it helps you gather thoughts into notes, into looking at, is this something we want to reach for? Because again, you really don't know until you've tried. And so it really comes down to, how are you approaching the thing you want to say? Number 7, I don't care. By saying I don't care, it really makes you come across as not engaged in what's happening. It really kind of, again, reflects on you and not having you participate and be a team player or cooperative within that company or project or whatever it's looking like. So instead of saying I don't care, you want to come across as a willingness to learn, a willingness to grow. So one way you can say this is, hey, I'm not familiar with that. Can you help me brainstorm and understand what you're asking? And perhaps that's something I can help with. Or you can say, I'm really committed to my role right now, and so maybe that's not something that is best for me. Or something that gives the thing that you're willing to learn, you're willing to discuss it, but perhaps it doesn't fit in your long-term goals. Some bonus tips for you. Saying things like, I am so bored. I just can't stand what I'm doing. This is so boring. Really comes across, again, as a defeatist, negative attitude on yourself. You always want to give the perception that you are willing to learn. So one way you can do that is maybe you need a different purpose or a different project in your job. So go to your boss and say, hey, I am really interested in learning about XYZ. Are there other opportunities that we can discuss? Or I really have capacity in my current job. Is there other things you'd like to get off your plate that I can help you with? What does that do? First of all, you probably won't be bored anymore, right? Because you're going to have more projects that's coming your way. And second of all, it gives your boss the knowledge that you're willing to go further with the company. You're willing to do more, which can only help you in the long run. The last bonus tip is, I need a vacation from all of this, or I need a break from all of this. Now, I am the first one that will tell you vacations and time away is absolutely vital. I actually am a big proponent of work-life balance, and so I am a huge proponent of taking a vacation. But you don't want to come across as, whoa, I am way overwhelmed, I am unprepared, I need a break from everything. But what you can do is you can talk to your boss about, hey, there's been a lot of projects. Can we talk about some ways that I can take some time off so I can renew my energy, so I can come back and be the best person you need for this role? That has a different tone. You're still going to get the same outcome. You're still going to look at vacations and work-life balance, but you're talking to your boss about a renewed energy as well when you're coming back. So hopefully these were helpful to you so that you never say these things in the workplace or to your boss, and instead gives you alternatives that you can say the next time you're feeling those things. If you like this, please leave a comment below. What's something you would say? I would never say that to my boss. Or more importantly, what have you said and how did you learn from it so that we can help our viewers move forward as well? Thank you, and we'll talk soon.